What up, everybody? It's your boy DT from Believe That TV, and today I want to start the video first off by saying thank you to all of you guys, my early subscribers. I just started this channel like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I've already got, well, last I checked as of Friday, 37 subscribers. So today is Tuesday, July 21st, but you guys actually won't be seeing this video till this Friday. So anyway, you know what? Why don't I just check as of today, Tuesday, how many subscribers I really have, because I haven't checked in a little bit. Oh, wow. Okay. So never mind. Correction here. 37, now 50 subscribers. So to all you other 13 subscribers, thank you very much as well for subscribing to the channel. The love you guys are showing me, I really appreciate it. We got a lot more fun content coming. Well, I have a lot more fun content coming. What am I talking about? One-man band here, right? Remember? Anyway, yes. So moving on. Thank you again, by the way. So moving on to why this video is so special and exciting for me today is because I'm actually doing it for a dear friend of mine. Jan, you know who you are, buddy. I met Jan last year. We were doing an interview, actually interviewing him, and I was running audio. And as soon as this man started speaking, I said, oh my goodness, what is this delicious ear candy I'm hearing right now? Oh my gosh. Like Jan, you know, he's probably feeling a little bit embarrassed right now if he's watching this, but he has got voice pipes of gold. Like, I just call him up sometimes just to hear his voice. I'll be like, hey, Jan, how's it going? And he'll be like, oh, hi, Darren. It's good to hear from you. How are you today? And it's just this really, like, even his cadence is very radio announcer-like. And I'm sorry, Jan. I know that was a poor imitation, but it's all done out of love, buddy. But I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm just going to have Jan open up one of my videos, you know, with like a nice little voiceover so you guys can hear his voice. So, Jan, I'm kind of volunteering you, buddy. So I hope you're ready. Anyway, since then, Jan has picked up a microphone. He's picked up a copy of Studio One, and I'm just going to do a quick Studio One getting started with Studio One version 5 here today in an effort to help Jan learn how to use Studio One and break into doing some voiceover work. So anyway, why don't we go ahead, switch over to the computer, and let's get started with getting started with Studio One version 5. Okay, so right away I want to point out that I'm using the professional version of Studio One 5 here. So my start page may look just a little bit different than yours if you're using the Artist or Prime versions of Studio One. Now, the biggest difference in the start pages of the different versions is that the Pro version has the project page as well as now the show page for artists who like to do live performances, whether in person at a venue or nowadays in the time of COVID-19, streaming online. So something I may need to explore in the future. I don't do a lot of performances, but I think this may come in handy down the road. So now the new song option here, this is where you go when you want to record any and every idea that you have, whether it's music or voiceover work, dialogue, or otherwise. This is basically where you do all of that work. Now, again, if you have the professional version, you're going to have this project page, and this is where you take your finished recordings and mixes so that you can master them, release them to the masses, and also create the files needed by CD duplication houses. And we mentioned the all-new show page earlier, so we'll just keep on moving to the next item, which is basically open an existing file. So that's like file open, you know, 101 computer usage, very simple. Next item is that you have your recent projects tab here, or section, and it has tabs to help you filter the types of projects you're looking for. So if it's songs, then you'll just get songs. But if you have projects where you've been mastering, you'll also have this projects tab and shows in the professional version only. And in this middle section here, what you have is your artist profile where you can drop in pics of really whatever you want. You can drop in your picture of your band, if you have a logo or something like that. You can put that in here. And below that, you can put your name, your genre of music if you do music, and your website if you want to do that as well. And right below that, you have the option to configure your audio interface. Now, I will say that in my time of using Studio One, which is from the very beginning, the software has always seemed smart enough to set up your audio interface if it was plugged in and pick it up and use that as your sound card for Studio One or your audio device. Unless you need to make any kind of special changes, it usually is configured for you right out of the box as soon as you open Studio One. And then configure external devices. This is where you can configure any kind of MIDI keyboards or MIDI controllers that you may have to control any of your software instruments as well. And at the bottom here, it's always nice to know which version of Studio One you're running. And that's the other really nice feature I really appreciate about Studio One, is that every time there's an update, you get a nice big banner across the top of the screen that says, hey, there's an update. And then on top of that, they give you the button right there to go ahead and download the update and update the software right inside Studio One, all without leaving the software. And so that's one thing I really like about Studio One, is that PreSonus makes it easy for you to do things in the software, and it just seems like everything you need is always right where you need it when you need it. That's what I've always appreciated about this software, and I've been with it for over 10 years now, and it just keeps getting better and better. Okay, next up is the news feed section here, and this is where you can find all kinds of helpful articles that teach you how to get the most out of Studio One, along with downloadable demos and tutorials, which I have yet to do yet. But anyway, you can download other Studio One users' sessions, their songs or whatever, listen to the song, you can play it back, and then you can see how they even created what they created with the different sounds and effects that they might have used. And it's just another way to help you learn how powerful Studio One is and how to use it and harness that power for yourself. And up here in this upper right-hand corner, you can see that we've got several little shortcut buttons that we can choose from that give you different functionality as you work within Studio One. And because we don't have any projects or songs open right now, if you were to click any one of these three buttons, song, project, or show, it'll just assume that you're trying to start either a new song or a new project or a new show. And once these things are open, your start button is always here for you to click so that you can get right back to your start page, which is a really cool and powerful feature, because that means that you can have multiple projects or songs open at a time. So for instance, let's say you just finished mixing a song in your song page, you've exported the file out, now you want to master it in the project page and release it to the masses, but as you're mastering, you realize that there's too much low-end energy in the bass and the drums. So what do you need to do? Well, go back to your song page where your project is open, where you can do a little more tweaking and mixing. And then once you re-render the file, you click on project. Studio One is smart enough to realize that there were changes made, and it will ask you, do you want to update this file? And within seconds, you're working with the latest edition of your song for mastering inside of Studio One. All of that within one piece of software, which is just awesome. It's just crazy awesome. But anyways, you know what? Let's get back to the task at hand. We ain't ready for all that yet. We're just trying to get started recording. So let's start a new session. And since this video is for my buddy Jan, we're going to focus on settings for doing dialogue and voiceover work. So right now we're going to click on New Song. And in this page, you can see where we have different options of templates based on styles, or also based on any type of interface that you might have, in particular ones that PreSonus has built. So if you have a PreSonus audio interface, you can select one of these and it will automatically have all of your inputs and outputs correctly routed for you to go ahead and start recording. And then if none of those templates work for you between styles and interfaces, maybe there's a certain way you know without a doubt you like to work all the time. And so you can take a template that you've made in the past and you can save it as a custom template, and it'll be here in this menu for you all the time so that you can use it for future projects. So more on custom templates in a little bit. But for now, we're just going to start with an empty song instead, because that'll allow me to show you a couple other things as we go on. But let's move on to the other half of our session setup page here. And you can see where you can name your session and select where on your computer that you want to save this session. And I'll just say right now that it's usually a good idea that when you're working with any kind of media, whether it's video editing or audio or whatever, having a separate external drive that you can save all of your work to instead of on the internal hard drive that your computer operating system is on, that's a really good thing. You know, that way if your computer goes down for some reason, you'll still have all your work once your computer is back up and running. And of course, there's always cloud services too that you can use, like Dropbox, or PreSonus even came out with their very own recently that gives you this ability and more through what's called the PreSonus Sphere. So Once you figured out where you want to save your work, now you can begin setting up how you would like to work in the session, choosing your sample rate, your resolution, and also how you want to see your time measured while you're working, your song length, tempo, time signature, key signature, all of that stuff. So you've got two interesting check boxes down here. And the first one is pretty self-explanatory. So based on whatever your tempo is that you've set up here, if you select this box, any audio files that you drag and drop into your session will be matched to your tempo that you set here. Now this play overlaps option here, when it's enabled, that basically means that when you have two regions that are overlapping each other, that both regions will still play and be heard during playback. And so we'll show you what regions are in just a second, but just keep that in mind for later. Just know that the seed has been planted. Now, one good thing to remember here is that all of these settings here, they're not etched in stone here. It's not like you click the OK button and this is all you get, right? So if you're working in your session and you realize later that you need a different setting, then one way or another, you can change just about any of this. So don't get caught up on this page and worried about if you have the right setting. Studio One is powerful software. In fact, so powerful, it creates disturbances in the force. All right. So for dialogue, here are the settings that I would choose. So first of all, I'm going to go to the sample rate. I'm going to make that 48. Resolution, I'm going to change this to 24-bit. And these two numbers are pretty much the standard if you're recording audio for video. But also, these numbers work just fine for audio-only projects as well. So if you want more in-depth information on sample rates and bit depth, then I'm going to make a video soon on these topics, which I highly recommend that you watch when it comes out, because it will give you more understanding of why and when you may want to change these numbers, and it also gets me more views. So, thank you. Subscribe and stay tuned. Now, as for these other options and how to adjust them, you'll see that after I click OK. So let's go ahead and do that now. So once you create your session, you're brought to this workspace here. And before we go any further, I just want to talk about those other options from the session setup page. So Timebase is, you can look at this ruler here, you can right click on it and get different options for your Timebase. You can look at seconds at the top of the page. You can look at samples, bars, and you can even change what kind of bars you want to see there. You can also use frames, and then it even gives you how you would like to see these different options: time linear, beat linear, and so forth. And then the other way that you can do that is down here with this number. Right now it's currently set to bars, but again, you get those same options. And on a larger screen, I'm only on a little 13-inch MacBook Pro right now, but on a larger screen, there is a secondary number over here to the left that you can select, and now you can have multiple ways of looking at your Timebase for whatever project you're on. So for me, when I'm making music, I usually like to see minutes and seconds and beats down here. It's just really helpful for me. So I just want to point out really quick that I think that for dialogue work and voiceover work, I think that the bars Timebase is one of the most useful. Not only is it handy for when you're making music, but also dialogue when you have a music bed in the background, kind of like the music bed that you hear under my voice right now in this video. Specifically for dialogue, if you have the tempo information of the music bed that you want to use for your voiceover, then you can set your tempo in Studio One to match the beat of that music bed. And then that way, if you want to do any special effects with your voice that's in time to the music bed, then that becomes much easier and makes your voiceover work way cooler. And speaking of music beds, I happen to know a little something about that because I make all my own music for my own videos. So if there's ever a song that you hear that you really like, and maybe you're just starting a YouTube channel yourself, if you'd like to use that music in your channel, I've got links to my music store down below for you to check it out. So I don't do the monthly fee thing like the big music houses do, so it's easy on the pocketbook. So if you're just getting started and you would like to support this channel, then definitely checking out my music is a great way to do that. So thank you. Now, getting back to those other options that we had there, song length was another one, and that's basically the end of your session. As we scroll all the way over, we can see what measure we end at right there. But if you need longer, all you have to do is just keep recording beyond this measure, or if you have another file that's long enough that will extend it, Studio One is smart enough to just extend to however long you need. And tempo down here is another thing that can easily be changed by simply clicking on it and typing in the desired tempo. More on how powerful the tempo tool is in another video. And right next to your tempo are your timing and key signature functions, all adjustable and changeable just how you need them. So again, Studio One is very, very flexible. So now finally the question that you've been watching Studio One for. We have our blank session. How do we get started recording? Well, the easiest way is that we're gonna go up to the top of our menu here. We're gonna click on track at the top of the page, and we have a few options here, but just to keep things simple, we're just going to select add audio track mono. And just about any real world instrument or single microphone that you plug in will be a mono signal. Just a nice little rule of thumb there for you. So we've got our mono track created here, and it's good to stay organized. So we're gonna go ahead and name this track first. So we're gonna say Darren, if I can spell my own name right, take one. All right, so now we're organized, right? Because if you ever get a project where you've got a bunch of tracks and they all just say track 1, track 2, track 3, now you got to figure out what stuff is. And yeah, anyway, it's just good to stay organized. Now, next thing to do is double check which input your microphone or instrument is plugged into on your audio interface and change your input to that number. So that's this input right here. So if your microphone is plugged into input 1, well, congratulations, you're already on input 1. But if you plugged your microphone into input 2, then you'll need to change it accordingly here. Now, after you've selected your input, you'll need to arm your track and see if you're getting a meter like so. And now you need to set your level so that it's not recording too low or too loud. So a good rule of thumb is however you plan to deliver your lines or record your instrument, perform that way as if it was the real thing, and while you're doing so, keep an eye on your meter. What you want is for the meter to go no higher on average than around 75% of the way up. This gives you a good level to work with later. You don't want it to be too low, and at the same time, this still leaves room at the top just in case parts of your performance are louder than other parts. Now, once your level is set, it's time to record. So go down to the bottom of Studio One in the transport page and click on record, and it will immediately start recording. What up, everybody? It's your boy DT from Belita TV, and today we are talking about Studio One. So now I've hit spacebar and finished recording, and now it's ready to play back and you can hear your first recorded take. What up, everybody? It's your boy DT from Belita TV, and today we are talking about Studio One. And there you have it. And because you were such an organized human being, look at what your recording was named. The recording here is the region that I've been referring to throughout this video. Now, these clips are called regions. So just revisiting that play overlaps option for a second that we talked about earlier in this video, this is what that means. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a duplicate of this region, and I'm going to drag it right on top of the original region that we recorded here. Now, right now, without that option enabled, look what happens when I play back. Today we are talking... What up, everybody? You saw how it got cut off, right? But now, if I go to the inspector window of this track, and I go ahead and select on play overlaps, now notice what happens when I play it. Today we are talking about What up, everybody? It's your boy DT. So that's what play overlaps is. It allows you to overlap regions and both of them get played at the same time. Anyways, here's another thing that you may find when you go to record your audio through an audio interface, especially if your computer isn't one of the nice, powerful ones of today. When you arm your track and you speak into your microphone or you play an instrument, you might get a slight echo or doubling effect. So I'm gonna go ahead and arm my track now. Excuse the feedback that you may hear for just a moment, but I'm gonna show you how you can get rid of that echo or that delay, which is called latency, by the way. So let's arm it, and you hear that nasty feedback, boom, you mute the track, and that latency is gone. So now what this allows you to do is record your audio in peace without hearing any of those delays or echoes to throw you off. So what causes that latency is your real world voice going into your microphone, into your audio interface, then into your computer, where your computer processes it and then spits it back out through the speakers. So if you don't want all that happening, again, just simply mute your track and all your latency is now inaudible. So anyway, that's basically the gist of how you can get started recording in Studio One. So now I mentioned earlier about saving custom templates, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you that now. Let's say this is how you always want to work. This is your template. You've got your one track here, and that's the template that you need every single time. Well, if that's the case, all you have to do now is go to File and go down here and click on Save as Template. And so if you remember that templates page, now if you go to User, that template will be there. Now, of course, you also have to name it. And so as descriptive as you can be and whatever title you want to give it, that way, as you build up a list of templates, it'll be easier to find the one that you're after. And that's how you do it, guys. So I'm just gonna stop here now because the video is getting a little bit long and we will definitely cover more in the next video. Believe that. If you found any of this information helpful and you want to support this channel, please hit that like button, smash the subscribe button, and if you need any of the gear that I used in making my video today, my kit information is down below, and if you use those links, this channel receives a small commission. And of course, please don't forget to check out my music if you're a beginning YouTuber like myself, and even if you're not a YouTuber, there's other music available for purchase for your own listening pleasure. Every bit of it helps to support this channel. So thanks guys for watching and showing this channel some love, and as always, I don't have a saying for this channel, so... yeah.